works with the EFOT PMO in ECG. So Lilian, when you get here, you can break down the EFOT for us. So where about 7 projects are being managed concurrently as we speak. That's big. She also doubles up as the change management coordinator on the ERP project being run in ECG. She is the branch union vice chairperson and president of her local church choir, as well as the secretary of the Presbytery Church Choir of Ghana. Let me take that again. This is very important, so let me take it slowly. Yes. So she is the branch union vice chairperson and president of a church's local choir, as well as the secretary of the Presbytery Church Choir of the Global Evangelical Church. That's big. She loves to sing, obviously, as you can see. So let's put our hands together for Lilian Larweh. Thank you, Lilian. Please tell us what EFOT is. I'd like to know.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to tell you that, as she said, my name is Lilian Larweh, and today we are going to be talking about the project manager as the servant leader and its impact on team effectiveness. So, basically, we've been here from yesterday and we've heard a lot about leadership. And I believe that many have already learned a lot. Many have already adapted new ways in which they wish to lead their team. Even our previous speaker mentioned how she empathizes through her actions, mentions how she understands her team members when they need to take some time off, when they have to work virtually, and it's all about servant leadership. So this afternoon, that's what we are going to dwell on. It's going to be very interactive, and mind you, I'm feeling very big shoes today. It was supposed to be Dr. Duncan, but she couldn't make it, so we all go along on this ride. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, what are we going to take away from this topic? We want to understand who a leader is. Then we will look at the style that we are focusing on, which is the servant leadership style. And then the project manager as a servant leader. The impact of servant leadership style on team effectiveness. And then some essential things that we need to learn as well. Okay, so who is the leader? Who is the leader? Taka said yesterday that before you can lead a group of people, you must first lead yourself. So we want to focus on that. If you are unable to lead yourself as an individual, there's no way you can be a leader. And what is leadership as well? Leadership activities focus on people. Now, PMI Institute is dwelling more on using agile methodology, which is people-centered. So we are going to focus more on people based on this leadership style.
So we were on who a leader is. So leadership includes influencing, motivating, listening, enabling, and other activities having to do with the project team. For today's focus, we want to look at servant leadership. So it's quite intriguing because who is a servant? Servant is somebody who is supposed to serve, who is supposed to, who is employed, who is paid, who doesn't have a lot of power in that sense. But here we are talking about servant leadership. So what are we trying to say at the long run? Servant leadership is a style of leadership that focuses on understanding and addressing the needs and development of the project team members in order to enable them attain their highest possible achievement and performance. So servant leadership places emphasis on first developing the project team to attain their highest potential.
ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning projects being implemented. We also have the Geographic Information Systems, the GIS being implemented under it. And then we have the MMS, even our project manager is here. meter management. We have a whole lot of projects being run. And then we have a PMO that has been assigned and that has been designated to manage, monitor, coordinate activities under this program. So that's why I work at ECG. The project manager as a servant leader. So being a servant leader as a project manager means one must possess a serve-first mindset. It's no longer going to be autocratic. You must be willing to serve. You must be willing to have meetings with your team, bring them along, discuss with them, brainstorm with them. No longer, okay, I want it done this way, and this is the final say. Give room for other opinions. Share with them so that together, collectively, they can bring up ideas that you may not have, and then you can achieve that goal that you want to achieve. So therefore, the project manager serves instead of commanding and displaying authority, and always looks to foster development of their team members in ways that unlock potential, creativity, and a sense of purpose. What is it not? We are talking about servant leadership here. We are saying that it seeks to influence, it seeks to motivate, it seeks to develop the needs of the project team members. So what is it not? Even though you are supposed to serve, it doesn't mean that you must let go of the agenda and lay back and watch your team do the work all together. No. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't show some kind of influence, that we should say, well, they said I should just watch them and give them the room to also grow, so I'm just going to be at my corner and watch them do all the work. No, that is not what it means. Otherwise, we will become a victim of the tyranny of the agents, meaning that some things that are important that needs to be achieved right now, you may not do it, and rather focus on what is urgent. So this is not what servant leadership means. Before, leadership was centered on the top-down hierarchy. Myself, then others, and then the team. But now yourself is at the very, very bottom. You are considering the entire project outcome. You are considering the processes. You are considering the people. You are considering merging all these things together. Brainstorming. You are considering using soft skills, the power skills, as was said yesterday, to develop, to nurture, to achieve and influence. So some behaviors are required of project managers. If you want to be a very good leader, and for that matter, a servant leader, you need to exhibit or you need to do some of these things. Obstacle removal. For instance, since it's the project team who generates majority of the business value, you need to ensure that they have the maximum time to deliver on their projects. For instance, in ECG, some people are not assigned full time to projects. They are still working in their functional role, and they are still expected to deliver in the projects that they are doing right now. And sometimes if you don't take care, you will not end up realizing the benefits. So what you have to do as a servant leader is to remove any kind of obstacle. You must ensure that they focus on the particular job they are doing at the moment. It may be difficult, but once you stand firm and you understand the culture that you work in, the organizational culture, and you give the needed reasons why these people must be assigned full time to a particular project, it would help a lot. So that's one of your jobs as a servant leader. You're supposed to remove any obstacle that may impede the achievement of the project objectives. You are also supposed to serve as a diversion shield. Servant leaders must shield their people. As I said before, those that are working full-time may also be asked to do other jobs that are not related to their projects. You must serve as a shield, protect them, give them the platform to do that which they have been assigned to do. And encouragement and development opportunities, very, very important. When you get a new talent, when you're on a team, anything that you have to put in to encourage the people to do more, to study more, or anything. It is very, very key. It's very important for you to do that as a project manager. So now we are going to the impact servant leadership has on team effectiveness. We want to understand what team effectiveness is. Team effectiveness is the capacity of a group of people, usually with complementary skills, to work together to accomplish goals set out by an authority. And here we are looking at the project manager. The servant's leadership style can be used to impact team effectiveness when we ask ourselves some of these questions. Are project team members growing as individuals? You have a staff who has been working with you for 4 years, ongoing, still at the same level. Are you thinking about their growth pattern? Are you thinking about what you are bringing on board? Are project team members becoming healthier, wiser, freer, and more autonomous? Are you giving them the room to make some decisions on their own? Are you giving them the power to feel empowered to take an initiative? Are you? Are project team members more likely to become servant leaders? Even though you are the leader, you are the one in charge, you shouldn't think that that role will be yours forever. So as you are going up the ladder, you must also take your team members along with you. You can even identify one or two, nurture them, and take them along. Servant leadership, another impact it may have on team effectiveness, that is commitment. The teams are more committed when they have a meaningful purpose. Because as the leader, you're supposed to share the vision with them. They are supposed to buy into it. They are supposed to understand. And once they do, they become committed. They feel a sense of belonging and they can own whatever they are doing and be effective at it. And skills. Once you don't do all the work on your own, you task somebody, you are supposed to be the one to keep records of our rich register. You work on our issue law. You ensure that lessons learned are in their repository, ensure that you've assigned everybody a role, but at the end of the day, they become masters at it and they get a skill. Accountability. Because you have placed everybody in charge of a task or an activity, they know they are responsible, they are accountable, so they cannot just come to work lazy about on social media. They know that at the end of the day, they are supposed to give you a report. Just like our previous speaker said, every day there's something to account for. What are you using the time that you've been allocated at work to do? Are we just paying you? So as a servant leader, once you assign people these kind of tasks, they know that they have to deliver. The value and appreciation. We all want to be appreciated for contributions we make to our team. So Lord suggests that building up others through encouragement and affirmation is one of the primary means by project managers and servant leaders can develop people. Taking myself for instance, once I'm encouraged, once I'm appreciated, just by saying, Lilian, you are doing very well, that means a lot to me. It means I can put in more effort. It means I actually look forward to doing that job again. So some people who are there, you can recognize them, you can give them rewards and other things just to appreciate them. So good leadership facilitates the bonding between project team members as well. And team building activities build unity, trust, empathy, and focus on the team over the individuals. That's another important point. Even though the focus is to nurture a team, not individuals. The focus is to build the team, not pick out and then focus on just one individual. Now, we've come to understand that servant leadership leads to team effectiveness. And some of these high-performing projects, and it ends out raising high-performing project teams. So some factors associated with high-performing project teams are open communication. An environment that fosters an open, safe communication allows for productive meetings, problem solving, brainstorming, and so forth.
During your monthly meetings, your weekly meetings, are you the only one speaking throughout? Are you the only one giving orders? This is your task for the following week. No. You allow your team to brainstorm. You allow your team to come up with other ideas, solutions, ways to make and improve, ways to develop the product better. So it fosters high performance in the team. Shared understanding, the purpose of the project and the benefits it will provide are held in common. As a project manager, you know where you want to get to. You know what you want to achieve. But once you share it, once you influence them and they buy on the idea, everything goes on smoothly. There will be a few people who may not join, but once you have the majority, I think you are good to go. There will be trust, collaboration, very important. Project teams that collaborate and work with each other rather than work in silos or compete tend to generate more diverse ideas and end up with better outcomes. Adaptability. Project teams that are able to adapt the way they work to the environment and the situation are more effective. We have resilience as well. When issues or failures occur, high-performing project teams recover quickly because they know that they are working as a team. There's no blame game there. If they collectively took the decision, they collaborated, it didn't work out fine. You just pick yourself up, brainstorm, get other ideas, and you go. And there's a lot of empowerment in high-performing teams. Project team members who feel empowered to make decisions about the way they work perform better than those who are micromanaged. We talked about recognition as well. So what are some of the ways to become a better servant leader? Use of emotional intelligence. One of my friends says that very soon emotional intelligence will be the course that you need to be certified in, because it's very, very, very important as we speak. You must learn how to use your emotions, manage your emotions, perceive them, and know how to relate with people. A lot of people are leaving their jobs. A lot of people are coming to jobs drained because their supervisors, their project managers do not know how to manage their emotions. Some people are spoken to anyhow. If your project manager lifts up his voice at you, what are you going to do about it? You must have emotional intelligence in knowing how to work with a team and then having an effective team. Establish good communication. We've said that. Monitor performance of team members on an ongoing basis. As a servant leader, you shouldn't wait till the end of the month for the monthly report before you know if your team member is doing task A or task B very well. On a daily basis, on a weekly basis, as often as possible, you need to monitor performance. Managing conflicts, very, very important as a servant leader. We are humans and conflicts are bound to occur. Aside the little conflicts that may occur, there are also conflicts with other stakeholders. In terms of projects, deliverables, how are we going to manage them? We have to get some conflict skills. Using servant leadership will ensure that. Develop empathy. Put yourself in the person's shoes. I'm not feeling well today. I can't make it. No, you have to be here because we need to deliver on this timeline. Are you going to be that kind of leader, or you're going to understand and say, fine, we will manage it and get the job done? Focus on developing others, and then commitment to team growth, not the individual, the team growth. This is a food for thought for you. If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. Ralph Waldo Emerson. It means that as a servant leader, as we've looked at in the slides, you are not supposed to be self-centered. You are supposed to bring the team along, share ideas, motivate them, influence them, get them on board, make them feel responsible, let them share in your vision in order to achieve your set objectives. This is something that you can take away from this. As a servant leader, you are not supposed to abuse your authority, but you have to view yourself as a servant. Even those of us who are Christians, the Bible, Jesus told us that he came to serve and not to be served. And I think he managed his project on earth very well. Yeah, he lifted up a lot of souls to heaven, so I think we can adapt that. We shouldn't be abusive, we shouldn't abuse our authority, but we should view ourselves as servants. Same as not being a dictator, but partner in the process of managing the projects. Partner with your team. No deplorable delegation, but giving back autonomy to do their job. Give them the space to brainstorm. Give them the space to come up with ideas. To say, okay, boss, I think we can do it this way or that way. We talked about micromanaging already. And empowerment, very, very important. We need to empower, and you are not egocentric, but rather you need to empower others. Another food for thought here for you. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. So as a servant leader, you are giving part of your knowledge, you are giving part of your skill, you are giving part of your shared vision, and in order to raise others like you. To conclude, we said that empowering team members perform at high innovative levels as they feel more engaged and purpose-driven, which in turn increases the organization's retention and lowers turnover costs. Well-trained and trusted team members continue to develop as future project managers. That's helping to ensure the long-term viability of the organization. So from today, we are taking away that servant leadership is the ideal style of managing project teams, and it's going to lead to building an effective project team. Thank you very much.
Lilian, thank you very, very much for that wonderful rendition and presentation. So, do we have any questions for our lady, please? That was great.
Thank you, Madam Forrester. I could hear the tonic sulfur in your voice. Wonderful. And thank you for a great presentation. I think it's very important as we change, as the world changes, that we move on in terms of leadership. I have a question. If you're a project manager in an organization that's deeply hierarchical, okay, everything is extremely structured. So for example, I work in the administration of the church. The Osophos are on a different level from us, the lay. And then the Osopho, we have the big man, very deeply hierarchical. And it has been there for the past 190 years. And me, small me, I'm coming with servant leadership skills. What are some of the strategies? From your own example, when you work with ECG, and I believe it would be a similar strategy because it's a state institution. So there's a boss and there are some level directors and some levels. What would be some of your strategies for trying to break some of these boundaries? I know it won't be a one-day thing, but what has worked for you that you would want to share with us? Thank you.
Okay. First, I would like to say that you should pray. Yes, because you're in a church, so the first thing for you to do is to pray. Okay. And even as in the church, you should understand that Jesus came to serve, so I don't know why you should have that problem. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Yeah, you're talking about leadership. You are working with ECG. Have you in any way been abused in your role before? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My bosses are here, so I have to be careful. Thank you. Next question, please.
mentioned. I think you are not on the list, or should I say you are not the resource person, right? That was a powerful one. Kudos to you. And I would like to ask, you made mention, there was a point you made mention of concerning abusing our power as leaders. And I would like to ask, how do you handle abusive subordinates? Because there was an incident that happened in my office. When during the COVID, we had to go into the shift system. But the nature of our work, we can't allow majority of our people to go. So we wanted to use those who had their leave within maybe a stipulated time, short time. So within 2 months, 1 month, you'll be going on leave. We tried using that method to get some of them to go, and then others will stay and work. But we had lots of trucks packed for offloading. So if we use this plan, we knew at a point we would be stranded, but then we could work out a bit to help with this social distancing and then abiding to the COVID protocols. When we started, it was moving on well until some of our subordinates had issues. Like you said, someone is not feeling well. She will call you. I'm not well. You give her today. Her colleague is looking at you. I also say I'm not well. Someone made a comment without knowing I was around. She didn't know I was in the office, so she was telling her other colleagues that, "Sir, Mama Nako, you understand? There are issues with subordinates being abusive when they are given certain privileges. So I want to ask, how can you handle, due to that, I would like to say, due to this behavior, the 1 week in, 1 week out for subordinate was cancelled at the head office. So eventually our colleagues at the head office were enjoying the 1 week leave or days off. And then those of us at the operational grounds were denied it because of this attitude. So how do you handle such behaviors?
Okay, indeed, Jesus came to serve as well. So I was surprised he didn't give that as an example. He was the first person to practice servant leadership. Okay, so, oh, okay, sorry, I was wrong about, forgive me. So my question is, do you consider the culture of the environment where you find yourself and then the leadership style that is being practiced? Because back in the days, in our various homes, the man is the final authority. But now we are looking at a progressive family system. So do you think the culture of the family affects leadership when it comes to the workplace? Or is there any relationship between these two environments?
Thank you very much. Taking it from the last question, I think the culture of the environment or the family setup really influences your leadership style. If you grow up in a home where whatever daddy says is, whatever daddy says is the final, then you cannot challenge it. You may take up that attitude as well and take it to work and to implement the same thing. So the culture influences your leadership style. I hope I got the question right. Okay. And going back to how to deal with abusive subordinates. Well, I'll let my boss help you with that one. But then,
thank you. I intentionally left her to do this, and I'm so much impressed. So let's give it a round of applause. I think culture is really a big thing in the organization. And once you have a forward-looking organization that practices what every forward-thinking organization does, everybody tends to fall in line. So if you have people who can decide what they want to do in the organization, then it borders on some cultural issues in the organization. So what's the reward and what's the punitive measures in the organization? You cannot decide what you want to do within the organization, because at the end of the day, the organization, I'll probably have to ask whether it's a government institution or a private institution. That's one of the, then we can situate the discussion properly. Okay, so if it's a private institution, I'll be very surprised. I'll be very surprised that somebody would decide that, well, somebody is gone, so I also decide that I'm going. So where is the value? Where is the value system in the organization? So it's very critical that the value systems in the organization influences how people respond to what kind of leadership style you want to put in place. If you recognize that that is an issue, then you probably don't want to use a servant leadership. You have to use an autocratic or a very powerful leadership style to make sure that everybody falls in line. So I think that depending on the situation, even though we have gone through what servant leadership is, the role of empathizing, PMI is changing, to people and things like that, you still have at the back of your mind that the situation demands what kind of leadership style we have to apply. So for me, I think that it's more of, yes, you can do your servant leadership, but you still have to recognize that at a certain point in time, you have to change that, you have to treat that, and make sure that you deliver results. So if the private institution, if resource generation, a resource-oriented institution it is, that will not be tolerated. That's not. So that's where the cultural issues come in. And the issue about people coming into the organization with cultural differences is very strong, really very strong. And that's why empathy is really the key word. You have to empathize and recognize that people are different. And when you are even given roles, you have to recognize that different roles that fit different levels. Else, you'll not be developing anybody. Because nobody's already made there on the market for you to just plug and pick into your organization. You have to still make sure you recognize the values each and everyone brings on board and develop them along. I think that's the whole essence of what a servant leadership is about. Recognizing the differences in teams and moving them along to achieve results. I think I probably have answered that for you. Thank you very much.
Sorry, just before you go, because there are two questions I haven't answered.
My question relates to if she had been accused in the office or in her role before, in discharge of the role before.
I think she has responded to that. Else she wouldn't be here. If she was abused, she wouldn't be here. Okay, so I think that it tells a lot about the culture we have in the organization.
I think now, for me, attitude plays a very important role in recruitment more than basically knowledge. Because you could have people with the same knowledge, but now you have to look at attitude. What I've realized is that people get work, they apply for work, they get the work, and then attitude all of a sudden changes. And you ask yourself, how did he get into the job in the first place? Was it through somebody, or did he competitively come to apply for the job himself? And then secondly, we also have to let motivation for work be intrinsic rather than always reward. What do I mean? If somebody, you will have to get to the culture where people should be happy that I've been able to do something, rather than I'm going to get something out of this that I've been able to do. Because I always tell my people that, look, the best day of my life is when I come to work and I'm able to serve as many people as possible, that they can go and say thank you, rather than to think of how I'm going to get something into my pocket, into the house. If we look at these things as part of our training effort, it will help change the dynamics, and people will no more think that they have to get rewards for what they do.
I think there was one.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so there's a question online. I'll read that quickly, and then I think we may have to round it off. So, what approach should you use to handle a boss who lacks emotional intelligence?
Prayer.
that is a problem for him. So you can note some of the difficult bosses that you have, and then work in getting them trained so that some form of improvement will come. Thank you.
I think you shouldn't forget about difficult conversations. You should also have difficult conversations with your bosses. Sometimes it triggers a lot of other discussions that normalize situations. So difficult conversations, as we said, you want to very useful
Mike.
Sorry, I thought we were out of time. I was saying that having difficult conversation with your bosses, I have found that very, very useful. Sometimes we say that we don't question our bosses, but when you begin to give them the reality of the situation you are seeing as the person at the end of the day who is transacting, then they begin to feel the how do you call it, the pressures, the things that are giving them the reaction they are giving. So it's important to have that difficult conversation with them, even though it may trigger several other discussions. But once in a while, you have to use that method to get to normalize things.
Thank you very much, Lilian and Boss. And with that, we come to the end of this very, very interesting and exciting. So I get the mic.